Hey guys, today I want to talk about why people wind up ignoring red flags when it comes to malignant narcissists. So there are very few people that I've ever spoken to that have gone through narcissistic abuse that told me, Michelle, I never got a red flag. They may think that at first, but when they start thinking about it, they're like, you know what? Actually, I do remember thinking or seeing this red flag or seeing that red flag. And yet they didn't listen to the warning. Why? I want to answer this question because I feel like people are really focused on red flags, which are important to understand, right? It's important to have that knowledge. But if you don't have this piece in place, you can have all the red flags in the world memorized and you're still not going to listen to them. So with that in mind, let's get started. For those that don't know me, my name is Michelle. I'm a life and relationship coach. I'm also the founder of the Thriver School of Transformation, which is a monthly membership where we meet live weekly and we work through the side effects of narcissistic abuse and CPTSD together. We do that on Zoom, so I'll leave a link here for anyone that's curious about that. So let's talk about why people ignore red flags. Okay. And from what I've learned on my own healing journey and from what I've seen from so many others, it has to do with what's going on in your subconscious mind. In other words, on a conscious level, if you've been through narcissistic abuse and you've done your research, right, which thankfully we're so grateful. There's so many awesome channels out there that are helping to bring narcissistic abuse awareness to people, right? So the information is there. You learn it, you get it on a conscious level, you get it on a logical level. It makes sense, right? Everything starts to fall into place in your mind. That understanding is done on a conscious level, right? Our conscious mind can learn something in one video. Our conscious mind can learn something in a video course. Our conscious mind learns fast. Our subconscious, on the other hand, is a habit mind and it doesn't get updated automatically. And it doesn't change simply because you learned something on a conscious level. And if you have old negative limiting beliefs in your subconscious, they don't get updated just because time passes. Okay, time does not update and upgrade your subconscious beliefs. So the reason I'm saying this is, for example, if you were raised in an environment where either your parent was a malignant narcissist or emotionally unavailable, or maybe even just had an addiction problem, you probably wound up with beliefs like, I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. I'm unlovable. If I show the real me, then I'm going to be rejected. Another belief that's common is I can't trust myself. Right? Because if you were gaslit as a child, what happens is you have a good radar. We all have a good radar inside, but if we stop listening to it, it becomes faulty. And I think that last one is a very common one when it comes to people that wind up ignoring red flags. Okay, so they see it. And this is what happens. Their conscious mind sees it. Their conscious mind starts paying attention to it. But then the subconscious, that's watching everything all the time as well, notices and starts, and that belief, I can't trust myself, gets kicked on. And when a subconscious belief gets kicked on, your body and your nervous system react in a way to keep you in alignment with that old belief. So for example, if the belief is, I can't trust myself, right? Everything I think is right is wrong. Or, whenever I trust myself, it's met with something negative. So your nervous system now thinks that it's a negative thing to start listening or trusting yourself. What your nervous system and your subconscious mind do is it puts hormones in your body to cause you to feel certain emotions. So for example, if you start trusting yourself and you're paying attention to those red flags, that's out of harmony with the subconscious belief that I can't trust myself. Okay. So your nervous system and your brain will start putting stress hormones in your body. Cortisol, adrenaline, neuroepinephrine, all of these chemicals will be now flooding your body. And when they flood your body, it feels awful. All of a sudden, your heart's beating fast. You start, feeling stressed. You start feeling anxiety. You start second guessing yourself. The second you second guess yourself and kind of gaslight yourself, right? Because that was probably the behaviors that you were conditioned to be around. So you gaslight yourself, and all of a sudden you feel better. That feeling better confuses the conscious mind, but the reality is you're feeling better because your subconscious is now giving you hormones that cause you to feel good, not because your external action is better, but because you're now back in harmony with the old belief. Kind of screwed up when you think about it. Okay, so what's really happening, and I don't know what's going on with my lighting, I'm like changing colors in front of my face, but anyway, what's happening is your body is rewarding you for staying in harmony with the old belief. When you think about that, when that truth sinks into you, that's a huge wake-up call. It's a huge wake-up call that healing is about really, yes, we need to learn about the other person. Yes, we need to identify their behaviors. But if we don't go inside and we don't spend time upgrading our subconscious beliefs, our own subconscious will sabotage our efforts to move forward and have healthy relationships. That's the way it is. Okay, so that being said, I just want to encourage anyone that's on this journey to just end toxicity in their life, right? You probably, whether you were raised in those dynamics, whether you were then in romantic relationships afterward, or friendships, any kind of relationship where it was unhealthy, the way to really get to a healthy place and to stop repeating these patterns is to do the inner work. And I'm going to be dead honest. It's a whole lot easier to look at the narcissist. It's a whole lot easier to look at what they do wrong. Because when we start looking inside at those beliefs, we have to start working through memories and emotions that we suppressed. And that's not easy. It's uncomfortable, but I can say this. A little bit of discomfort is worth it to be able to break free of all toxic relationships. If you don't, if we're not willing to go through that discomfort, we will just keep repeating them. And I've heard from so many people that it starts out with one kind of narcissist and it just gets progressively worse. Like maybe the first one's an overt, then they become covert, then it's a vulnerable narcissist, and then it's a psychopath. It's like it just keeps getting worse. And who wants to spend decades of their life in those kinds of relationships? However, if you struggle doing the inner work, I want to invite you to the School of Transformation. We meet live weekly on Zoom. We work through the side effects of narcissistic abuse and CPTSD together. And every month we have a different theme. Last month we talked about deconstructing the self-image. This month we're talking about overcoming social anxiety. Each month is a different piece of the puzzle of the healing journey, and you can work through it with a group of thrivers as well. So you're not feeling alone on the journey. But regardless if it's with my program or somebody else's, I encourage you to do something that helps you to go within, because it's the only way to break the patterns.